All right, guys, so look at this. We got a 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, and Lewis is underneath working on it. Now, I know our videos are gonna bounce around a little bit from daily drivers to custom stuff to high-end stuff, and we do wanna push more for building higher-end vehicles. The problem is most of the viewers wanna see everyday life, things that they drive, things that they could fix in reality. So we're gonna kinda try to give it a happy balance. On this Jeep, it wasn't starting. So we got a call, Jeep's not starting, went and looked at it, the starter's bad, seems simple, but when Lewis was driving it back, he noticed that the rear end was swaying a lot and told me to take it for a ride. We did, and the rear end was swaying a lot. Took a look, and everything's very solid on this Jeep. Otherwise, if it's completely rotten, sometimes they're not worth repairing. This one, for what it is, has very little rust on the bottom of it. When we looked, the control arms were bad in the back. And you can see here, the bushings were shot. Control arm shot. The ball joint that goes on the rear end. So these have a giant control arm with the ball joint on top of the rear end housing. It was so shattered that Lewis just grabbed it and just went like this. It just all over the place. So that's where the rear end sway is coming from. We're hoping, because we haven't taken it for a test drive yet, but we will with you so we can see. He went underneath it and ripped all this stuff apart. We went and ordered it from Detroit Axle, which if you watch our short form videos, you would see us unboxing these parts exactly the way they came. Came out of the box, went right in with zero problems, very easy to do. You did have to press in the ball. Everything is, well, ready to go back together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis is uncertain, yeah.
No, that was a very sure, yeah, just trying to make sure the mic can hear me.
Oh, okay. It might, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me see.
You can hear me?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
So as you can see, we're car guys, not like audio video guys. And I get comments on some more videos. People are like, one guy's like, you're all over the place. You need to script your stuff. And I said, Lewis, should we try scripting this? And he goes, I don't have the mental capacity for that this morning. And I don't either. So this is reality, real life, car guys. Car guys aren't actors. We're just car guys. So this is us doing our thing. So what we're going to do now is throw the wheel on this thing. We actually sanded it down because when you get this stuff, it's usually like an E-coat. And the E-coat isn't really something that's going to protect it. So we sanded it down and cleaned it. And seeing as we do body work and stuff, we really want to make sure that's going to last. We had some chrome paint, so we put some chrome paint on there just to give it an extra protection, because you know what? Without paint, if it lasts, this control arm here, even though it's rusty, it didn't break. The worst part about it was all the joints were shot. If it lasted 22 years and we paint it and it lasts another 22 years, I'm sure it's going to outlive the Jeep, most likely. Probably going to outlive me. But let's get going and see if it solved the problem. You know what everybody's going to say? Where's your lift?
Where's your safety glasses?
Oh, that's true too. Okay, so you can see there's the upper control arm. You can kind of see the ball joint. It's hard to see. And then look at those chromed out lower control arms.
It's a lowrider, baby.
It's fancy.
Just because I didn't feel like parking across the parking lot.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna take the Jeep for a test ride. Lewis just has to move his truck and clean up because we don't want him getting dirty. Dirty. Let's see the starter. Nice. Where's Lewis? Where's cameraman?
I was going to close the bay door.
It's warmer outside than it is inside.
Okay.
It's literally like 62 degrees out.
I forgot I left this in here.
Mr. Forgetful. That solved the back. Now he's got to do the front end. So that was a success. We took it for a ride. The rear end is good. There's some noise coming from the front end, so Lewis is going to take a look at that. We just want to make sure everything is A-okay. But it's just a simple repair, general maintenance that you should do on your vehicles. Make sure shit's safe. The products we used in this video were actually from Detroit Axle, which you heard me mention. We will put a link in the description below for you to purchase it. If you want to know, I'll tell you a little bit about the purchase process. We purchased it, I believe, on a Tuesday. Might have been a Monday. They said it would be here on a Thursday. On Thursday, we got a notification that it actually was delivered to them. So then they shipped it out to us and said it was going to be here on the Monday, but it actually showed up Saturday. So it was late but early, which is no big deal for a car that's sitting. I'm sure if somebody had a vehicle that was their daily transportation and needed it, it might be a problem for them, but it worked out perfect for us. And I tell you, for the price that they charge, very reasonable product. Sometimes you question it because you're thinking it's not going to be beefy enough, but it literally was exactly like the OE stuff that we had on there. Very thick, very strong. The ball joint looked a little different. It was a little bit shorter. It worked fine. It's not an issue. So if you're interested in that, check them out. You know, so click the link below. And also, and as far as the job itself, it's hard because like, I'm thinking like we should do some sort of rating, like a 1 to 10, how difficult it would be for someone to do this at home. So we're going to try to work up some sort of scale. It's fairly easy. Sometimes on the older vehicles, the bolts are rusted on and you have to break them loose. So it gets a little challenging. There wasn't a lot of tools needed to do it. It was very quick. It was a couple hours. It wasn't a huge deal. But that was by the time we got it up, it got it jacked up and put it on the jack stands, which is another thing. You'll see when we're using jack stands, you always have to make sure it's safe. If you jack a car up, always put jack stands underneath them, and you want them on a solid surface that's stable. You know, if you have a frame or a frame that has a nook in it, you could put the jack in it, or you could put it on the axle. On this one, we had to put it on the frame because if we put it on the axle, it would have kept it up too high. You wouldn't have been able to get the upper control arm down. So we wanted the jack stands on the frame so that the suspension could drop down, which we did. And I am very, very firm about safety, especially with jack stands. I've had multiple friends over the years that died from it. And, you know, even when I first started, you would laugh, oh, I just got to go under the car quick. I'll jack it up. I'll stay over here or whatever. And it's not something to joke around about. Get jack stands, get truck jack stands, get heavy duty jack stands. Don't get the little piece of crap ones. Oh, we'll put a link in the description for jack stands too. But you want to get something heavy duty that supports the car, that's very stable. You know, sometimes I'll see people with these little cheap ones and they'll have them all the way at the top and everything's like bent over and it's like, it's a very sketchy. And again, like I said, I lost some good people to it and I feel very bad for some of the stuff that their family had to go through over, you know, one of the guys that we just lost 2 years ago. I forgot one thing. I'll just jack up the car, hit that one thing and get back out. And in the meantime, the jack collapsed. And it's just sad. So you got to make sure to always be safe. And if you see somebody not using jack stands or not doing it, don't be afraid to speak up and speak your mind because, you know, it could save a life. We actually, years ago, I had a guy really mad at me because we had a truck show that we put on for the Magnetic Mini Bash. And one of the guys that came there had a hydraulic suspension on his vehicle. And it had the cylinder on the bottom of a hydraulic cylinder. It has the actual shaft that comes out. And it's, you know, probably 1 5/8 maybe. No, not even. Maybe about 1 1/4. And he had that sitting on the top of the rear end axle. And he had a couple of spot welds that were, the spot welds I always tell people are not going to hold. When it's a ball and the top and bottom are touching something, it's not going to hold. You need a weld that's actually beveled in and feather edge and really melted in well, and it wasn't that. And I see people looking at the setup, and one of the guys stuck his head in between the bed and the tire to look at the suspension, and I pulled him out and said, don't do that. I said, that's, you know, very dangerous suspension right there. That could come down and kill you. Got really pissed off at me, and honest to God, within 30 seconds to a minute, the weld broke and the rear end fell down, and his head would have been caught up in there. So don't be afraid to say something, even if it pisses someone off, because safety is super important in the shop. You know, I had someone play a joke on me one time years ago, and they put the jack down and jacked the car down and made it look like they were underneath it, and the jack fell, and then threw a jack over to make jack stand over to make it sound like that. Stuff like that, you can't mess around with stuff like that. Safety is always first. Sorry to get so serious at the end of this video, but there's one thing that's very important, and when it hit my mind, because we've lost so many people over it, I just wanted to say that. And seeing as we use jack stands a lot, we will be getting a lift in the future. I know it's a pain in the ass. Everybody's always like, you need a lift, you need a lift, you need a lift. And it's funny because for years we just never had one. We just, you know, a lot of the cars go up on the stands and we could work around them and do them. But if you were doing mechanical work every day, it's definitely worth it. If you liked our videos, which I hope you did, thank you. I really appreciate you guys watching them. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, come back for more. Tell all your friends. Thank you.